Meller with Meller Marketing. We're going to get started with the Oakland Community College Lunch and Learn event, doing LinkedIn training today, and for not that long. So just want to say hi, and for those of you watching live, leave your comments below. If you're watching this in playback mode, I would highly encourage you to reach out to David Brenda on LinkedIn and connect with him to learn more about all the great events and activities they're doing here. And message me if you have any questions about LinkedIn. Then we'll get up to the stage and you're going to be watching. All right, so can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. It's showtime. I have fun when I present. I hope that's okay with you guys. I got this prop, I don't remember where, but very rarely can I wear it. I've worn it like a couple times, but I love presenting LinkedIn and sharing what I love about LinkedIn, and I like having a lot of fun when I present. So that's why I'm wearing it. Pink is part of my brand colors. If you're following me on social, you know that's what that's all about. So I'm so excited to be here today to talk about optimizing LinkedIn and building your presence online using LinkedIn as a tool, whether that's for business development, if it's for career search, if it's just for online branding and positioning yourself. So I'm actually not going to wear this the whole time. Fun prop is a little bit cheap. I'm going to take this off. So what you're going to be kind of experiencing today is how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk about building dialogue with connections, and we're going to be talking about creating social media karma. I'm a big believer in paying it forward, helping others in your network. Okay? So that's what we'll be covering off here today, and we're going to do a little bonus section on how to assess your LinkedIn progress as well. So a little bit first on me. I love my job, obviously, right? I love my family, and I also love coffee, pie, and chocolate. Okay? So did you guys see the looping thing I was showing beforehand, little pie? So that's why. It's just part of the things that I love. There's the bacon people. Is anybody a bacon person here in the room? There's always like one or two. There's the cupcake people. You know, that's their thing, right, Lisa? I'm your pie gal, so that's my thing. That's the thing that I love. And I love it so much that I now bring pie with me when I present. So I've got a couple mini pies I'm going to give away at the end of the presentation. There's a mini cherry pie and some mini apple pies. And I've got a little pie tin, so if you want to be eligible, just drop your business card in there, okay? And then I'll do the drawing again. I'm going to start floating that around. Okay? So I am an introvert at heart. Okay, yes, I am an introvert. I love presenting and public speaking. I was telling David before that it's not a character flaw, it's a personality trait. So after I present today, I'm going to have to be quiet for a few hours just to recharge myself. And I say that because there's probably a few of you inside the room that are saying there's no way she's an introvert. She's up in front of the room wearing a feather boa, right? But you can, definitely embrace your introvertness. Toastmasters was a huge, huge resource for me. Where's David? My fellow Toastmaster here. It's really great public speaking groups. I love and hate cooking. I'm a mom, so you know what that means, right? And once a year I get to do a jigsaw puzzle after the holidays, so that's a little bit about me. LinkedIn has been a huge part of my career, both personally and professionally. I've used it as a marketer, I've used it as a company representative, and I'm using it as a sales professional, growing my own business. And the techniques that I use on LinkedIn are generating, on average, 2 to 3 leads a week or more. And this is just through my organic efforts that I'm doing on LinkedIn. And that's what I'm hoping to share with all of you today. Okay? Any advanced LinkedIn users in the room? A couple people? Anybody? Hands? No? If you're advanced, does anybody know what their SSI is? LinkedIn Social Selling Index? Have you guys heard of that before? Anybody ever heard of it? So you can Google LinkedIn SSI to get to the redirect, but I have a link on the screen. So if you have your laptop with you, if you want to look up your score right now, this is essentially a score that LinkedIn gives you that assesses how effective are you at social selling. And it's an index from 0 to 100. 100 does not mean A+ perfect. 50 is actually average for the population. So if you're 50 or above, you're pretty strong on LinkedIn. I've only gotten up to 86, has been the highest I've ever been, and right now I'm at an 82. So if you're curious about your score, I've got a link you can go to, mellermarketing.com/mylinkedinSSI. And then I have a little hyperlink, click to see your SSI, and it takes you back to the LinkedIn site to redirect to look that up. So that's a little bit about, I'll throw out there for the advanced users. Now I would like to ask for a couple of volunteers in the room just to learn a little bit more about you. So I'm going to ask for 3 people if you could just tell me your name, something you're hoping to learn here today, and your favorite kind of pie. Okay? Can I get a first volunteer? All right, go ahead.
My name is Marilyn Davis.
Something you're hoping to learn today.
I'm hoping to learn how to optimize my profile on LinkedIn. Charlotte. I'm hoping to learn how to get the most out of LinkedIn in like maybe 10 minutes or less, if possible, a day.
Good.
So that's what I'm hoping to learn. My favorite pie is probably strawberry rhubarb, but not with the crumb crust. It's too sweet for me. I like just some regular.
Solid choice. Thank you so much. One more person. One more volunteer. I'm going to keep going on. Yes.
My name is Nancy. What I want to learn from today is my clients and my favorite time.
Each pie. That's a solid choice.
We didn't hear what she said. Well, I didn't hear what she said. Can you?
Want me to repeat it? My name is Nancy. What I want to get out of this seminar today is to assist my clients in how to navigate the business properly and my favorite time.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for those volunteers. All right. So we're gonna kind of get going here, and a couple reminders as we get started into kind of your LinkedIn supercharged training here. First is check with your company and see if your company has a policy with regards to how to use social media and specifically LinkedIn. Sometimes if you're in the financial services or a highly regulated industry, there may be rules about how to post and what to post, so be aware of that. LinkedIn is continually changing. You guys ever if you're inside LinkedIn and it kind of just freezes and hiccups, my philosophy is they're doing back-end changes and that's why the hiccups are occurring. And then an hour or so goes by and you go back into LinkedIn and then everything's kind of fixed all over again. So just be aware, if they never have downtime, so if you're experiencing any of those hiccups, it's probably LinkedIn, not you. My view might look a little bit different than your view. I'm a more advanced user and often will get the changes first. So as you're seeing some screen captures here today, it might look a little bit different for you. Okay? And then everybody does have a different comfort level. I'm pretty open. I'm on LinkedIn every single day. And you might say, gosh, Brenda, I don't want to be on there every single day. But my hope is that you'll listen to the tips I offer you here today and you'll figure out which of those tips will work best for you. And then one other thing I want to mention before moving on. This is my daughter Charlotte, and she's just like her mommy. She loves chocolate. She was, this was after dinner one night. She was going through, we got a candy bowl, and she found the box of Valentine's chocolates, and she said, "Can I have some, Mom?" And I said, "Sure, you ate dinner, you ate your vegetables, go ahead." And I show this picture not just because I'm a proud mom, but because I'm the boss of Charlotte. I can tell her what to do. So if there's anything I cover in today's presentation, you're like, well, I don't like that advice. Well, I'm not the boss of you. You got to figure out for yourself what's going to work best for you. Okay? So a bit about some background on LinkedIn. You probably all know that LinkedIn is the top professional networking site. There are over 610 million members now on LinkedIn. It's not the largest social network. Actually, Facebook is still the largest, but it is largest in terms of being the biggest professional networking site. The people you connect to on LinkedIn, they're called connections. They're not friends like we have on Facebook. They're called connections, so you keep that in mind. And in terms of free versus premium, I typically say don't pay for the premium version unless you're hitting a wall. Sometimes that might be I want to see everybody who's looked at my profile, or it might be I want to do unlimited searches. I really don't see the value in the emails. I'd rather communicate directly through an invitation. Okay? So if you're in premium and you don't know why, I would say cancel it and get kind of beefed up on the organic version instead. And then LinkedIn is professional, so I would say only share professional information on LinkedIn. I don't even put my birth date on my LinkedIn account, and I shut off the birth date notifications. If I'm friends with you on Facebook, I'll wish you a happy birthday there. But I don't need to see that information on LinkedIn, okay? And then some other facts on LinkedIn to keep in mind. Even though there are 610 million members on LinkedIn, less than half of those people are active. So only about 250 million people are active on a monthly basis or more. And I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about how active you should be on LinkedIn, how often you should be on LinkedIn. Of all of the users on LinkedIn, only about 40% of us log in daily. So it tends to be that you're either on there all the time or you're on there very sporadically when a business need or a career need presents itself. And on that note, do keep in mind that LinkedIn is not a job search site. It's actually used more by working professionals for online networking and for branding and business development than it is used by job seekers. Okay? And the average user, when you factor all this time in, only spends about 17 minutes a month on LinkedIn. So we're not spending a lot of time hanging out on LinkedIn. We go in, we get business done, and we leave. Okay? So we'll keep these things in mind as we talk about status updates a little bit later. All right, so do these things, 3 things, and you will rock on LinkedIn. And we're going to talk about optimizing your profile, we're going to talk about invitations, and we're going to talk about building social media karma. And what I'm hoping you guys will do
son Joshua. He always does funny pictures in his, he posts in his pictures, I don't know why. But he's like, yeah, Mom, I'll do the dishes. And then an hour later I'll go by and I'm like, have you done the dishes? No, but I will do them. I will do them eventually. So I share this with you because I really want you guys to take action on this. And if you do have your laptops with you, log into your LinkedIn account. You're going to follow along. If you have your phone with you, pull out your LinkedIn app to your profile because we're actually going to go into your profile and look at it hands-on as we go. All right, so let's start with optimizing your profile on LinkedIn. And this is going to be the area I'm spending the most time on because I really think it's the most important thing to think about in terms of your LinkedIn presence. And the concept I'd like to address here is the concept of a sculpture. So when you think about a sculpture, it's as much about what they take out as what they keep in. Okay? So it really needs to be focused. Your profile should be focused. And I like to think about writing your profile for your ideal target audience. You're not writing it for everybody in the world. You're writing it for that ideal target audience. So think right now, who is that ideal person that's reading your profile? Is it a prospective customer? Is it a prospective client? Is it a recruiter or HR manager? But that's who you're writing your profile for. Okay? And then I like to look at my profile in terms of optimizing it, fill out every single area that LinkedIn gives you. And I like to really kind of hit every character limit as well. Not because I think everybody's going to read it, but because that helps me to come up in more search results on LinkedIn. Okay? And then the last concept here is to think about writing it for a person. So human beings are actually reading this. Is it interesting to read, right? But I also want you to think about writing it for the computer. And what I mean by that is there's technology that's running behind the scenes that determines who's going to come up in search results and how often we're going to share this person's profile out with others. So write it for the person, but also write it for the computer. And I'm going to show you some of those techniques here today. All right, so if you have your laptop and your phone with you, I want you to pull your profile up in both views right now and look at them. If you only have one or the other, that's fine, but let's look at your profile right now. And as we're building out your profile, I want you to think about optimizing it for desktop and for mobile, okay? And there's a couple things that are different in the two different views. You're going to notice in the desktop view that your headshot photo is actually left aligned. Now in the mobile view, it's center aligned. So that's really important because of the fact that if you put a header graphic in the background, which, by the way, I highly recommend you do that, but keep in mind that it's going to be hidden if you put anything in the middle. If there's a logo or any text in the middle, it's going to be hidden on mobile. Okay? But same thing, if you put something where it's left aligned, it's going to be hidden on desktop. So I always like to put text or any important graphics on the right-hand side of my header. Okay? The second thing I'm looking for, let's get our laser pointer. The second thing I'm looking for is the See Contact Info box. And you can see on the desktop version, it's really easy to find your contact information. Well, on mobile, guess what? It's not easy. It's actually all the way down to the bottom of your profile. You have to scroll and know where it's at. And if people want to get a hold of you to do business with you, to hire you, to contact you, you don't want to make it difficult for them. Remember earlier when I said about the fact that less than half of people are going on LinkedIn monthly or more? So if I want to get a hold of you and I don't know how often you're on LinkedIn, don't make me dig to find your email address. What I do is I actually put my email right in the summary section of my profile, make it really easy for them. Okay? And then speaking of summary, look at your summary statement. You're going to notice that only 3 lines show on desktop and mobile, but fewer characters show on mobile than they do on desktop. Now, most people are not going to click see more and expanding that to read it, right? The right people will. But let's write our summary so that the most important sentence or two is at the very front of your summary statement. Okay? So we'll keep these things in mind as now we go through and we look at optimizing your profile. So let's start with the very top of your profile on LinkedIn, and there's 2 areas for photographs up on here. There's your headshot photo, and then you've got your header image in the background. Now what I look for in the headshot photo is professional, pleasant, smiling, and really important here too, your face from the top of your head to your chin, that should be about 50 to 60% of the circle. Okay? So look at your profile right now. Is your face about 50 to 60%? If not, you can actually click on that pencil icon, and I think you click on it one more time, and you can actually zoom it in, make it a little bit larger. The reason I would recommend you do that is twofold. One, half of traffic nowadays occurs through a mobile device. So if your headshot photo is from the top of your head down to your waist, you're really, really far back and we can't see you. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. The second, and this is from a marketing perspective, if you're a little bit more zoomed in, you look more important, you look more approachable, and you look more impressive. So that's like a little subtle element. So zoom in your photo if you haven't already done so. And then just a pause on that statement I said earlier, professional photo. Not a selfie, not darkly lit, no headshot that you would use in a Facebook or something like that. This is your brand image that you're putting out with your photo. So really important that it is a professional looking photo. I'm going to show you an example of a few in just a minute here. Okay? Let's now move on to the image that's behind your head, your headshot photo on LinkedIn, and this is your LinkedIn header image. And my guess is probably about half of you on LinkedIn have the teal blue with the dots and the lines. You can change that, and you should change that. Now, does anybody in the room have an interesting header on their profile background?
I mean, it's not interesting, but.
Can I get the other goal? We're going to move it around now. What do you have on yours, Ashley?
2 people climbing a mountain and 1 person is helping the other one reach the top.
Cool, so mountain climb, you can wear it or put it on the table in front of you, have some fun. Get some pictures with yourself on the feather boa too. So something kind of different, a little scenic element, you know, a brand element. I'm going to show you examples of a few things in there. Now you can't do that from your phone. You're going to have to do it from the desktop view. But what I always tell people is this header image that's in the background is almost like LinkedIn gave you a free billboard on the side of 696 for you to advertise and talk about your business. So whether that's a picture of your logo, your company, or your building, or something, maybe it's even a marketing piece that's talking about your upcoming events or things that you're offering to your customers. Think about using that space. That's marketing and promotion for your business, okay? The next thing I would have you look at is your headline, and this is what appears right below your name. Now, by default, LinkedIn will put job title at company, and I would highly recommend that you change that out so it's not just job title at company, because that's not really doing you any favors. I like to look for something that's a little bit more descriptive and appealing, and I'm going to give you a couple examples here in just a minute. I also look at your contact info, and if you click on See Contact Info, that'll pop open and see whether or not, do you have your website listed in there? I will actually choose my website, and I choose the word Other, and then you can put a couple keywords and describe your website in there. It's a little marketing tip there. Your email, I would like to see your work email, not an AOL or a Gmail, because if I want to do business with you, I might feel funny sending you an email to your home address. So I would put your work email as your primary in there. And then I also look at, do you have a simplified URL? I'm going to show you how to simplify your web address in just a minute here. Okay? And then underneath that, we have our summary statement here. See if that summary is working. Our summary statement, our 3-line summary statement. And I'll give you some additional instruction here, but only 3 lines show, about 35 to 42 words in desktop, 10 to 12 in mobile. So you need to make those first words compelling. Write it to describe who you are and how you help your audience. Really, this is a tool to describe yourself to your prospective ideal target audience. And this should not be the same as your resume. The goal of a resume is to find a job. The goal of your summary on LinkedIn is to tell us your story, to engage with connections, to get us to connect with you. So for that reason, I like to see your summary is written in the first person. So a very simple change you can do right now, you can go into your profile, and if it says results-oriented marketing professional, blah, 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 you can say, I am a results-oriented marketing professional. So just a small tweak, it'll kind of change that level of engagement from your summary there. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples on each of those points right now here. So the very first is if you do not yet have a simplified URL on your LinkedIn. This is your web address that people can visit your profile. This is the way to simplify it. So if you're in desktop, you're going to go to your profile, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Edit Public Profile and URL. Okay? You click on that, and then you're going to be in this page where it says Edit URL, and you can actually change this. So my guess is if you haven't changed it, it would say brenda.meller.12348978 or some gobbledygook code in there. And I would recommend you go in and change that, simplify it. I like to do just first name, last name. No dashes, no spaces, anything else. If you're a John Smith, you might need to do John Q. Smith or John Smith MI for Michigan. But I do recommend that you simplify that. Okay? I see you guys taking notes, and I do want to mention these slides are going to be available to you after today's presentation. I'll just message me on LinkedIn and say, can you send me the slides, and I'll give those to you. Okay? If you don't have your desktop, I know you probably want to look back at that again later. All right, so simplified URL. So has anybody already cleaned up their URL, made it a little bit stronger? Can I get that other ball? We're going to move it around again. You didn't want to wear it, right? I saw a hand in the front. Who has a simplified URL already? There you go. Got some pizzazz for you here. All right. All right, so that's how to simplify your URL. all the elements I look for: pleasant, professional, smiling. Your face is about 50 to 60% of the circle. The gentleman in the bottom right, he's a lawyer, so he's in front of a bookcase. Perfectly fine. He's kind of staged it on there. And you can certainly have a simple, clean, white background, or you can have, some elements in the background there. But really easy to see their face, and their professional image is being set there. On the right-hand side, you can see some examples of some of my favorite profile header images that I've seen on LinkedIn. The very top, do you guys know who that is? Anybody know who that is? Who is it? Anybody know his name?
Chris?
No, it's not Chris. Well, I'm sorry, the header images that we're looking at right now, on the right-hand side, the header image. That is Chris, though, Dave. Very good. No, so that's Ted Petullo.
I was like, I think I know his face.
Who's it? Ted Petullo. We're going to get the photo rolling. So Ted's the head of the marketing over here. I'm giving him a little shout out. And I really like that because it's the OCC branding. There you go. There you go. Have some fun. OCC branding. He's got a picture of the building. And you see he's got his logo, but it's on the right-hand side, so it's not hidden. So a really nice photo there. The woman in the middle, she works for, I think, the fruit baskets company. So she's got like a stock image of fruit that's in the background. And the gentleman on the bottom, does anyone know who that is? David Van. Seems like, I know he's affiliated with you guys too, right? The Leader Dog program. And I met with him a while back, and I'm like, gosh, the dogs and the puppies, you got to put like a picture of something on your profile, because that's like, that tugs at the heartstrings right there. So I just think that's a really nice use of company branding and imagery. So there's just a couple of examples, something different than the default, and some ways to kind of think creatively about how to put your header images together. All right, so moving on, let's now talk about your LinkedIn headline. And what I would say is if you're on LinkedIn, right now, go type in the search bar and just type in your job title. Whether it's operations manager or business development or salesperson or whatever, just type it in. And then you're going to see the search results come up on LinkedIn. And your headline is really important. And I think if you do this example, this search, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So I just did a search for headshot photography. So let's say I'm looking for somebody to do photos for me. I did a search on LinkedIn for headshot photography, and these are the search results that come up. And you can see as I'm scrolling through here, this is like really helping me to determine whose profile am I going to click on, where am I going to visit. So I see at the top, we've got Hugh, and it says owner of Hugh Anderson Photography. Okay, so that's his own business. And then you've got Vicky Headshot Photography. They're all kind of blending in together. And then I come to Scott Lawrence, and it says headshot photographer. I help people make amazing first impressions. That's his headline. So now I'm like, wow, Scott sounds interesting, and he gets it. He's trying to really do a nice job with his headshots. He's not just your standard run-by-the-mill headshot photographer. He makes amazing first impressions. So think about your own headline and how that impacts you coming up in search results. People are going to be scrolling up and down, and they're going to determine whether or not they're going to click on your name. Okay? So if your role is VP of Business Development, and everybody's search says VP of Business Development at XYZ company, VP of Business Development at ABC company, you're not differentiating yourself. So your headline can help you kind of stand out a little bit. So you've got 120 characters to work with in terms of writing your headline. Only about the first 80 or so appear before it wraps and goes ... So kind of go front loaded and top heavy in terms of those keywords that are on there. And I use the I help blank with blank formula, and you guys can feel free to steal this and use it for your own. But instead of saying marketing consultant at Meller Marketing, I say I help people in businesses unlock the power of LinkedIn. So I help people in businesses unlock the power of LinkedIn. So think about what your I help statement could be. Okay? So it's a little bit of a different way of thinking about writing your headline there. All right. Moving on, let's talk about your LinkedIn summary statement. They give you some technical aspects first, and then I'll walk you through some examples of content suggestions that you can consider. Starting with, you've got 2,000 characters to tell us your story. Usually when I'm working with individuals on their profiles, they've got maybe 2 to 3 sentences, and that's it. And that's great for what we can see in the 3 sentences that are at the top, but they're losing out on an opportunity to come up in more search results on LinkedIn. So you've got 2,000 characters to tell your story. Use as many of those characters as you can. And I consider what's on the top. So I'm not going to start with my life story by saying I was born in a small town in 1974 and I went to Lance Cruz High School and then ... because now I've missed out on that opportunity to tell you about me right away and smack you in the face with that information. So start with the most compelling part of your story first. You can't do HTML formatting, which means you can't do bolding or underlining or anything like that, but you can do some techniques to make your summary statement a little bit more skimmable and easier to read through. And what I look at doing on my summary is I use all caps for section headers. I'm going to show you this in just a second. I use paragraph breaks to break up the copy. In marketing speak, we'd like to call this short, snackable chunks of copy. So it's not a paragraph of 12 sentences. It's really hard to read and I don't want to read. It's like 2 to 3 lines and then a break and another 2 to 3 sentences and another break in there. I would recommend when you're writing your summary, you've got 2,000 characters to work with here, don't do it within LinkedIn because LinkedIn will pick up in the middle of it. You will lose your work and you will curse LinkedIn, right? So write it in Word, and the benefit of writing it in Word as well is you can actually use bulleted lists, and when you copy and paste, your bullets will carry over. Okay? So I would do it in Word and then paste it over into there. And you're going to notice on my profile I use emojis instead of bullets, and I do that just to give it a little bit of visual interest. But I use emojis that are appropriate for a professional networking site. I use like a little checkbox, and I think I have like a little pinpoint icon that you can see in there as well. I don't use smiley faces and things that are more appropriate for Instagram and Facebook. I use appropriate emojis in my summary. Okay, so there's some technical aspects. Now let's talk about some content suggestions. How do you write your summary? Well, I would say write it how you describe yourself to others. So let's say, what's your name again? Denise. Denise. So let's say I meet Denise at an event. You know, how do you describe yourself to me? I mean, that should really be what your summary statement is. It's a version of your elevator pitch or your statement of yourself. You wouldn't say results-oriented marketing professional who specializes in, like, who would say that, you know? So make it kind of like more conversational. Make yourself a real person when you're writing it. And write it for a person, but also write it for a computer. So when you're thinking about, you know, those keywords that go in there, you want to make sure that you're using the right keywords that you want to be found for in search results. And in my summary, I'm going to show you here in just a second, I actually put specialties as a keyword list, just separated by commas, because those are the words I want to be found for. That helps me come up with search results. Okay? I'm going to show you mine in just a second. Does anybody have any recommendations on their LinkedIn profile? You have recommendations? Okay, where's the feather boa? Where's it at? It's getting low. Nobody's wearing it, guys. It's a feather boa. It's fun. Thank you. What's that?
Your pie plate stuff.
Oh, where's the pie plate?
Because I'm in front of the camera.
So, recommendations, you know, what do people say about you? I would look at your recommendations and you can repurpose those into your summary statement. You know, think about how do you wrap those into description. That's how other people describe you. You can do the same thing and bring those into your summary statement. Tell us your story. So I've got some thought starters in here. You know, describe for people why you work in the industry that you're in, why you're passionate about what you do, what's the most rewarding part of your job. You know, I put in here, you know, some of my favorite memories of working for my company include. So my name tells a little bit about the stories that you're affiliated with your customers on there. And I would say as you're working on your summary on LinkedIn, feel free to look at my profile as often as you'd like. This is what I do for a living. I optimize profiles all the time, and I'm always tweaking even my own summary on LinkedIn. So I have in here a screen capture of my summary. I'm going to kind of walk you through the techniques I just showed you right now. So this is, I kind of stacked it side by side because it's a pretty long summary. But you'll see that I have 3 sentences, a line break, another 2 sentences, another line break, all caps for a section heading. Instead of bullets, I have emojis, so I'm kind of making it skimmable for you to read through there. And then on the right-hand side, the second box down, you see I have specialties. That's my keyword list. Those are the things I want to be found for on LinkedIn. Just words separated by a comma. I don't write that for you as a human being to read. I write that for the computer to index me in search results. So if I want to be found for LinkedIn strategy, LinkedIn coach, LinkedIn trainer, I've got to use those words multiple times in different places in my profile. And you can actually see the specialties list appear in both my summary as well as in my experience section, and I have those in my skills list as well. Okay? I put some personal goals and some philosophies because that helps me to make me appear as a human being, not just a robot who's using LinkedIn. So it gives you a little bit of insight into who I am as a person as well. And 2,000 characters total, I kind of, you know, got as close as I could, 1,982. Feel free to look at my profile. On LinkedIn, it's not stalking, it's called research. It's okay to do this. And I'm never going to be weirded out and say, hey, Lindsay. I'm never going to say, gosh, Lindsay keeps looking at my profile. Why does Lindsay keep looking at my profile? I'm going to be like, yay, Lindsay's looking at my profile. That means she's doing her homework. So that's a good thing. So feel free to look at it. I'm not going to be weirded out. I don't really pay attention to that much, that kind of stuff. Okay? All right. So moving on, we're going to a couple more things, and then we're going to move on to status updates and then 2 other items here. But look onto your profile, go down to your experience section, and I want you to look at your top employer, the current employer that you're working in. And first thing I want you to look for is your company logo, is it showing or is it a gray building avatar? So if it's gray building avatar, that either means you don't have a company page yet on LinkedIn, or you're not linked properly to your company page. So if I were to click on my Meller Marketing logo, it's going to pop me over to my Meller Marketing company page, where you can learn more about my business. Okay? So if you don't have a company page yet, you can create one. It's simple and it's free to do so, and it's basically an extension of your website. It's a way for you to talk about your business on LinkedIn. Okay? So get your company page set up there, and then the logo will actually show instead of that gray building avatar. So people are looking at your profile. They're in your experience section. Now I look forward. Do you have anything written about your company in your experience section? Okay? I like to start my experience section with a 1 to 2 sentence description of my company. What is my company? What are the products and services that I offer? Use this as an opportunity to brand yourself and to describe your products and services to your potential customers. Remember I said earlier, you're writing your LinkedIn summary for your ideal target audience. Your experience section is really critical to that summary and to that description. So take a little bit of time, add some information about your company, tell us about your products and services. Then you can describe your role, and then I put the specialties in there as well. Those keywords help me to come up in search results. And at the very bottom of your experience section, you can also showcase products. You can showcase your services. You can put PDFs. You can put videos. You can put JPEGs. And you can see on my profile, it creates a little bit of a visual interest at the bottom there. Everything else pretty much in LinkedIn is text. It's black and white. So anywhere I can add like emojis to add a little pop of color, that helps to kind of create some interest to that. And then by putting some media in there, it also helps to create a little bit of visual interest. Does anybody have any media on their profile? Photos, videos, anything like that? Yeah? Okay. You guys are getting quiet, like I don't want to blow up. She's nodding her head though, so we're going to pass it over here. But, the media is a great way, thinking about if you are promoting products, services, events, things that you're offering for your company, use LinkedIn as a sales tool. Put those pieces of information in there. Maybe you've got a sell sheet about your business or a PDF that talks about your products and services. Use that and upload that to your profile. I would encourage you, if you're not already doing so, to follow the Oakland Community College company page here on LinkedIn. And one thing that can really help you to stand out for organizations on LinkedIn is go on their company page and add a couple comments onto some recent posts. If you're trying to do business with a company, this is a way for you to become familiar, right? And for your name to become one of those familiar names because you're always interacting on their posts. It's a really good technique. I do this myself. If there's companies I'm looking to do business with, it helps me to learn more about them. But I also get some interaction going back and forth. And then when I outreach to them to invite them to connect, they're like, oh yeah, your name's familiar. You're always commenting on our company page posts. Thanks for doing that, by the way, right? So do that on the Oakland Community College company page. And when you do comments, the rule of thumb I like to look for here is 5 or more words. So don't just say great article. Put 5 or more words and put a little bit of substance in there. You can say, this was a great article, thank you for sharing, or something along those lines. When you do comments of 5 or more words, that helps those posts to stay up in the homepage feed a little bit longer, and it gives that company or that individual some more visibility. Okay? So that 5 or more words is a rule I'm going to talk about a little bit again later, but this is the very first place I would do it when you're making comments on company pages. All right, so going back to your profile again, I want you to scroll down to your skills section right now on your profile, and I want you to look at the top 3 skills that you can see on your profile. Okay? And you can add up to 50. I like to optimize my LinkedIn profile, so how many skills do you think I have on my profile out of 50? 50, right? Why would you use all 50? That helps you to come up in search results on LinkedIn. If you're struggling with coming up with 50, look at your competitors. Look at other people that have your job title, and you will come up with 50 skills very easily. What's more important, though, are not the fact that you have all 50, is what are the top actually unpin any of those top 3, and you can repin others that go to the top. One thing I like to say is people are lazy. And I don't really think people are lazy, but this will help you to remember this. People are lazy. They're not going to click on show more. They're going to see the top 3 skills and they're going to move on. So if you say you are an expert in marketing and your top 3 skills are Excel, financial analysis, and event management, I'm like, well, wait a minute. She said she was a marketer. That doesn't add up. So think about the top 3 skills, how those are positioning you for the expertise that you say that you have. And then consider moving some around if you can. Okay? All right, so now let's talk about inviting and accepting invitations on LinkedIn. And if you're on your desktop, I actually want you to follow this technique along with me. We're going to practice sending out an invitation. I'm going to show you on mobile in just a second here as well, but we're going to start with the people who have their laptop. So if you have your laptop with you, I want you to search for my name in the top. I did a search for the word pie, just as my example, because pie's fun. But search for my name, Brenda Meller, M-E-L-L-E-R. If you are already connected with me, then look to your neighbor, look at their name tag, and look them up on LinkedIn because you're going to practice sending invitations to them. When the search results come up, do not click on the connect button here. If you do, it sends that invitation off, and you don't have the opportunity to personalize. Okay? So do not click on connect. Instead, click on their name to go to their profile. You will know that you are in the right place if you can see that header image that's in the background. Okay? So we're on the desktop. You're seeing my profile. And if you see my profile, you're not going to see a connect button. You actually see, bless you, you're going to see follow as my main option. But what I want you to do is click on the 3 dots, and then you should see an option to connect or personalize invite. Are you guys seeing that? Okay. Is anybody seeing that on my profile? Is anybody awake out there? Bueller? I was going to say Bueller. So mine, you would click on the 3 dots. For most people, though, you're going to see the connect button. And you would click on the connect button. And then LinkedIn's going to give you a menu saying you can customize this invitation. And here, I would say from this moment forward, every single time you send out an invitation on LinkedIn, personalize the invitation. And I'm going to give you the formula to personalize your invitations so that you get more of those invitations accepted. Okay? So the formula I like to use is hi, first name, have we met or not, and if I have met, I tell them where, and if not, then I look at their profile, I find 1 or 2 things that are interesting to me about their profile or that we have in common. Then I ask for the connection and I sign off with my name. The invitation is all about them. The invitation's not about me. The invitation's about them because I'm trying to get you to accept my invitation. Even if I want to do business with you, I'll do that in the next follow-up message. I don't do that in the invitation.
That's the question on that. So I had somebody do that to me. They sent me a friend or a request.
Connection request, yep.
With a message.
Yeah.
I accepted the request and then lost the message.
It's still in there. You have to go back to your messaging and then you can
Okay,
set
that's
the name.
okay.
It's still in your messaging. Good question, though. So that's the desktop view. So now the people that have your phone with you, we're going to show you guys how to do this from your mobile phone. Okay? Don't go too fast because you're going to miss out on a step and you're going to send them without personalizing. So wait for me to walk you through this. So on your phone, if you're not yet connected with me, look up on your phone Brenda Meller, M-E-L-L-E-R. Go onto my profile. When you are on my profile, look for the More button or the 3 dots. Do not click on Connect. If you click on Connect here, it sends out the invitation without personalizing. Okay, do not click on that. Look for the More or the 3 dots. Then you see the menu of options, one of which is personalized invite. And then you do the same steps. Hi, Brenda. We met today at Oakland Community College. You were a phenomenal presenter. PH for phenomenal, if you guys need that. Let's connect on LinkedIn. And then you sign your name off. Do you have a question?
Mine says Brenda Meller, second. So does that mean we're connected?
We're not connected yet. First would mean you're directly connected.
That's what I thought.
Second
So
would
what do I
mean
do?
I'm connected with Mary, you're connected with Mary, so you're on a second level connection.
So then I push the button, what do I do?
You click on either More or the 3 dots.
It just has your name on the line and says second.
Okay, so click on my name to go onto the profile. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Now you're there. Now we're there. All right, very good. All right, another question. What's that? Brenda Meller, you're not seeing? M-E-L-L-E-R? You got Brenda Miller. Yeah, that's common. I was a Zawacki, and I was looking for a Smith. I found a Meller, so I guess that's pretty good, right? A little bit easier to find. Finding it there? There you go. So now you're going to click on the More button. There you go. And it's personalized invite. invitations. From this moment forward, never send out an invitation that is not personalized. I guarantee your acceptance rate will be much higher. When you are making that invitation all about that other person, there's a higher likelihood that they're going to accept that invitation, right? What about invitations you receive from people you don't know? What do you do with those? You ignore them. Can you pass the feather boa over to this gentleman right here? Who was it that said that? Ignore them. Ignore them. That's perfectly fine. Okay, sure. Anybody else? What do you do with invitations from people you don't know?
What do they both
Mary.
want?
Message them back and just say, thanks for reaching out to me.
Yeah. What's the message? So Mary's one of my star students, so she knows my tip here. So I'm going to show you this technique as a way of screening in invitations that you get, because what's very common is what you are all saying. I ignore them, or I look at their profile and I make a judgment call on whether or not I think they'd be a good connection, right? But you know what? You never know. You never know why it was they sent you an invitation. You at face value might say, this isn't going to be a good connection, I'm going to ignore it and decline it. Well, guess what? You may have missed out on a business opportunity there if you're ignoring those invitations. So what I would recommend, and you can do this only in your desktop view, is click on your My Network at the top. So when you click on My Network, you're going to see a list of all of your pending invitations. Click on Manage All. Okay? When you click on Manage All, we're now going to see a list of all of his invitations, and underneath each of them, now we have an opportunity to message them. So I do this with every single invitation I get on LinkedIn. I'm going to click on Message, and now I can message these people back. And I have a short version and I have a long version. Did anybody get my long version here? It's a little bit like I'm looking forward to connecting. I find dialogue helps. I go on a little bit. So that's my long version. My short version, just really quick to the punch. Hi, Mary. Thanks for the invite to connect on LinkedIn. Have we met? Brenda Meller. Now, in this case, Mary knows we haven't met. I know we haven't met. But it's more polite than saying, who the heck are you and why do you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, right? And really what's important there, I don't care what Mary says back. My goal here is to get some conversation going back and forth with Mary. I'm getting Mary to talk to me. Because what might happen is I send it to Mary, and she's going to reply back and say, actually, I landed on your profile because I need some help with LinkedIn. Can we talk sometime? Or Mary might say, no, we haven't met, but LinkedIn suggested you, and I figured it might make sense since we're both in Metro Detroit. Or Mary might say something else. I don't care what Mary says. I've got Mary talking to me now. And now I can talk back to Mary. Okay? So I do this technique, I screen them in. The intentional invitations, the people who really want to connect with me, they're going to take the time to reply back. The unintentional invitations, you know those people that click on connect. They don't care who you are, they're not going to reply back. Then I do what you guys do. I look at their profile or ignore them or archive their invitation. But the ones that are intentional, I got some conversations going back and forth with right now. Okay.
What do you do with competitors?
Personally, I look at competitors as, does anybody in the room know Terry Bean?
Oh, yeah.
So Terry Bean, I guess you could say is a competitor. He's a LinkedIn training as well. I look at Terry as co-opetition. You know, he can help to supplement what I do. Really, that's a judgment call. What do you feel most comfortable with? You could reply back and say, hey Jim, appreciate the invite. I make it a rule of thumb not to connect with people in similar industries as mine or in my competitors' organizations. It's really a judgment call. I personally believe that the more people that you connect with, the more people will see your status updates, the more visibility you have on LinkedIn, and you never know where the future may lead, and your competitor could end up being a referral opportunity for you someday, right? That's my philosophy. You gotta figure out what works best for you though. Yes, another question?
So for those who use LinkedIn as a boosting themselves up, just connecting to anybody willy-nilly and sending out invites, we all get them the random message of just a hard salesman.
Yeah.
I know I have
People
my
do that on
templates.
LinkedIn? Really?
I know I have my standard templates
Yeah.
of how to interact with these folks and ask them, did you just cut and paste? Or
Right.
do you know who I am? What are some of your standard processes?
So I started doing this lately. I get the in-mail or the sales navigator pitches, and they're like, we work with marketing agencies like you all over the world, and I will reply back and I'll say politely, I'll say, oh, I'm just curious, did you look at my profile because I'm an independent marketing consultant. Yeah. By the way, do you need any help with LinkedIn? Right. So I turn it around. I mean, I actually sell the salespeople back. If there's an opportunity for you to do so, hey, they reached out to you and that's the name of their game. Why don't you say, hey, I sell printing solutions. Do you need any printing posting for your company.
So, yeah.
Chances are they won't reply back.
No.
Or you could just archive them too.
Yeah.
But if you are using LinkedIn for business development, if you are trying to connect with people who could be prospective customers for you, this is what I do. I do the connection first. If you're sending the connection out, it is all about them. The connection's all about them. It's not about what I can offer and what I want to sell to you. It's all about them. After they accept, then I will reply back and I'll say, what's your name, sir? Don. I will say, hi, Don. Thanks for accepting my invitation on LinkedIn. My business is Meller Marketing. I help people in businesses with marketing and social media, specializing in LinkedIn. Let me know if I can be a resource. Also, if you get a minute, Don, tell me a bit about what you do and how you're using LinkedIn. So right away, I'm putting my cards on the table. Here's what I'm selling if you're buying, okay? But that's as much as a sales pitch as I do. That's as far as I go. And I do that after you've accepted the invitation, okay? Then Don may or may not reply back, and Don maybe tells me about his business and what he's looking to do on LinkedIn. If I can be a resource for Don, I'm going to help him out. I'm going to send him referrals and do whatever I can do to help him out. I am a big believer in social media karma. That's going to help me and help Don. And then someday when Don comes across somebody who needs some LinkedIn help, he's going to remember me, okay? So yes, it requires some work, but yes, this is going to help you with business development, okay? Then you continue the dialogue if there's an opportunity to do so. So finishing off here, we're going to just talk a bit about building social media karma on LinkedIn. And I like to use the analogy here of a checking account. My 14-year-old son is now kind of learning about money management, and he has a savings account. I give him a little debit card, and he's like, "Cool, I can just go buy anything now, right?" And I'm like, "No, you can only buy what money you have put into your account. You can't, you don't have a credit card right now." So I'm teaching him these techniques, and I want to teach you these techniques as well. So if you're struggling with, gosh, LinkedIn is not working for me, my customers are not coming to me banging on my door, I would challenge you to think about, have you made any deposits into your virtual checking account, so to speak? So have you been paying it forward? Have you been paying attention to your network? Have you been commenting on their posts? Are you interacting with your homepage feed? If not, you're probably not getting anything out of LinkedIn if you are ignoring it. So think about that concept first of paying it forward, building out social media karma. And what I would encourage you to do is think about starting every visit to LinkedIn on your homepage. And scrolling through your homepage, if there's things that resonate with you, make a couple likes, like on the post. Likes are good. Comments are even better. And comments of 5 or more words actually help those posts to stay in the homepage feed longer. I guarantee if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm going to be one of those people that are always up in your homepage feed. Would you guys agree with me, the ones that are connected with me? And my posts are not sales messages about Meller Marketing. My posts are about Ashley and the work that she's doing. My posts are about David and the events that I'm attending where he's in person. They're about him. I'm building social media karma. So I do that first, then I make my deposit. Then I post something on LinkedIn. I'm talking to my network first, and then I post something. So I would encourage you guys, if you're not posting on a regular basis, start posting at least once per week, ideally once a business day. And here's the thing you could do. Every time you're at an event like we're at today, we speakers have large networks. So if you take a picture of us and you post that on LinkedIn and you tag me, guess what? Yeah, that helps me, but more importantly, you get the benefit of my 12,000 followers seeing your post, okay? So feel free, if you have your camera, to bring your camera out, take a picture of me, of presenters in the future, and post them on LinkedIn. And as you're doing that, I'm gonna just show you a couple screen captures. If these people are in the room, is Kim here? Kim was supposed to be here. So if your picture comes up on screen, I'll pause so you can take a picture and I'll point at your profile. That'll be a fun thing to post, right? So we got Kim, we got Lindsay. Is Lindsay in the room? Where's Lindsay? So there's Lindsay. So I'll get back to her over here. So we got Lindsay here. Look at Lindsay. She sent me an invitation. I mentioned in the invite, it said send me an invitation to connect here on LinkedIn. Lindsay did that. Where's Scott? There you go. Look at that. You're a celebrity here today. Can you pass the feather boa over to Scott right now?
I would definitely wear that video.
Greg is not here. Okay, so if you don't know what to post on LinkedIn, here's some examples of what to post. We're running a little bit short on time, so we'll have you hold off if that's okay. Here are some examples of things that you post every time you go to conferences and events and you see speakers. Take pictures of them, post them on LinkedIn. Especially if in the conference program you say, here's our event hashtag. That's the planner saying, please post on LinkedIn, on social media, get the word out there. You're reading an article related to your industry, your company, the trends you're seeing in the market. Think about me on your shoulder going, Mary, you should post that on LinkedIn. You should post that. That's a good thing. You should post that as a status update. Click on that share icon. That's a really easy thing to do. So a lot of great ideas here. This will be in the deck if you want to review those again. And what I'll end with is my technique for posting on LinkedIn. And I guarantee if you post this way, you will never post the same way ever again. Okay? So NEV is my acronym. N stands for news. So the news is, you got to think about, do they care about this? Do people care about what I'm posting right now? They don't care about sales pitches, but it's something informational, educational. That's something they care about. E means engage. So you engage by tagging people and or organizations. So if you were to take a picture of me today, you might say kudos to @David Bradley of @Oakland Community College for booking an amazing speaker @Brenda Meller. So you're giving some love to them. You're tagging me as well, but you're giving some love to them as well. The V is the visual. That's a photo or a video. And the A is a call to action. What do you want them to do as a result of reading the post? Okay? I'm going to go back there for a second. That was you were like coming up there and I stopped it. So I guarantee if you post this way, you'll engage like never before. Here's an example of my never in action. The news, weekly on Friday or Saturday, I do a LinkedIn rock stars list, and I kind of announce, here's the rock stars list. The E, I engage by tagging, and I tag all the top 20 people who made it onto my list for that week. Okay? The V, I show a visual, which is a chart. So I just do a screen capture, put that in there. And the A is comment below to add your suggestions to the list. Now this post alone really blew up. I got 12,000 views, 80-something likes, 80 comments. Now half of those comments were me replying back saying, Mary, thank you for your comment. Glad you found the list helpful. That's why my post stayed up on the homepage feed so longer, because there's conversations that are going back and forth. Okay? And what I'll leave you with, if you're trying to assess your LinkedIn results, watch your numbers. I used to run track in high school. I was never good. I think my best time for the mile was like 6:46. That's not very good, is it? That's not a good mile, is it? I don't know. So I just remember I would always try to assess my results and go a little bit faster than I did the time before. So these numbers are going to give you some help in assessing your progress on LinkedIn. The first thing is your LinkedIn dashboard. If you're on your profile right now, look at your profile on your phone. You're going to see there's 3 numbers on there. There's who's viewed your profile, post views, and search appearances. If you click on who's viewed your profile, you're going to see this trend line. And I kind of like to look at where are their peaks. Okay, I did something really good there that got a lot of engagement. That's what drove my profile views. Don't worry about the dips. Those will happen over time. But focus on the peaks. What happened during those times? Okay? So that's one thing to assess your progress. And the other is your LinkedIn Social Selling Index. I'm going to leave this up on screen for you guys to look at the web address there if you'd like to look up your score. Again, 50 is good, so don't freak out. This is what I do for a living, so my number should be a little bit higher there. But it is a good way to kind of assess your progress as you optimize your profile, as you're engaging with connections, and you're getting invitations and acceptance, that dialogue, your score will go up. Okay? So what I will leave you with is your homework assignment here. And as I said at the beginning, just like my son, when I say, are you going to do this? And he says, yes, I'm going to do the dishes. Do these things. Actually do your homework and get active on LinkedIn. I'm not going to read through this list here, but feel free to take a picture of this if you'd like. Message me on LinkedIn to get a copy of the slides. If you complete your homework, as a little bonus incentive, message me on LinkedIn and say, hey Brenda, I was at the lunch, I finished my homework. I'll give a once over on your profile and I'll give you a couple of additional tips. Okay? So that's my offer to you.